everybody, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm not doing anything major, I'm doing nothing that we haven't all cooked before, but I'm going to do it to perfection for you. I'm going to show you how it's done right. I've got a New York cut here, Texan size, obviously you can see that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sear it in the pan and then I'm going to throw it in the oven for a slow roast. I'm going to carve it up, I'm going to match it with some side salads, and I'm also going to make a peppercorn sauce as well. I've got all my ingredients here, already sorted out, I've already gone for it all. So I've got butter, I've got sliced shallots, diced really fine by the way, peppercorns which are beaten down to size, peppercorns we're going to use for the sauce as well, some beef stock, some Worcestershire sauce, some cream, and my favourite, another favourite of mine, garlic. Alright, so the rosemary's going to go in as well. That's going to be a little bit of a blessing for the meat as it gets seared up. Okay, so what I've done now is I've prepared a little bit of butter in a pan and I whack it on the heat. We're going to grab this steak, which has been sitting out at room temperature for 2 hours by the way, out of the fridge. I've seasoned it with salt. You've got to choose your salts correctly. Salt does mean a difference to things. The way the salt's blended and cut will determine the way that it lays itself into the meat, okay? So I'm using Himalayan pink, which I love to use all the time. There's a time to use just your typical processed sea salt, but I like to use that for cooking straight up, alright? So we're going to melt some butter in the pan. It's all happening right now. I might bash the heat up just a little bit. And see how we go. So we'll get this process going. As I said, I'll make the peppercorn sauce and we'll go for a break from there, alright? That's a beautiful cut of steak I got by the way. So what I've done there is I've seasoned it on all sides, and what I'll do now is I'll sear it on all sides, and the reason why I'm going to sear it before it goes in the oven is to contain the flavour and the juices inside the meat itself. The reason why I love doing in New York is because of the grain in it, the marbling. Okay, fat is flavour. You're not going to get anywhere with a cheaper cut of steak at all to try this at home. The strip loin is behind the rib on a cow. It's a beautiful cut of meat, okay? We've all probably had it in a restaurant or whatever. I'm going to show you how to do it at home and to do it at perfection. I'm going to cook it medium. When any meat that's got a marble score of fat in it, regardless, I'm not talking about Wagyu here, I'm just talking about your regular cuts of meat from the butcher shop, whether it's an Angus cut or whatever it is. Anything with marbling in it, with lots of fat in it, you want to get that to a medium heat, okay, to a medium temperature. Anything less than that, you're going to do yourself an injustice. You're going to be pulling sinew and fat out of your steak when you're carving it up. That's not going to go down too well. That's sizzling up nicely now. So what I'm going to do is we're going to pop it in and we're going to seal it up. Throw some herbs in there. A little bit more butter, I think. We're going to help it out. Oh, that smells great. A little bit of flavour in the butter. Okay. And what we're going to do is continuously try and help the steak out to seal the flavour in. Oh, that rosemary sauce is fantastic. I love the flavour bombs, the smell bombs when they come through the meat. I know you can't smell, but I'm trying to do my best to give you the impression of what it does smell like in my kitchen. Okay, so we're going to continue on. It's only a light sear, it's only going to be for a couple of minutes on each edge of the steak, but we're going to cover all the edges up, okay? Every single one of them. Oh my God, that smells great. Okay, so I can smell the fragrance from the rosemary. It's all happening there. The butter, the garlic. Okay. As you can see, I'm adding flavour to the meat. It's not just going to be a plain steak. By the time I put a peppercorn sauce over this, it's going to be a beautiful dish, okay? So the heat's not too high, sorry. And the reason being is I'm using butter. You don't want to burn the butter, so it has to remain at a constant low heat, okay? So you're only hearing it sizzle, and it's still maintaining its colour, and I already know that I'm not overheating it, and you'll smell it straight away if you are anyway, alright? So this might just take a couple of minutes to do on each corner. Okay, it's already started there, so that's already still, the seal process is already starting to happen. I'll go back around one more time just to make sure. Because when it goes in the oven, we don't want to lose the juices, okay? And we continue top cooking it by throwing the hot butter all over it, so it's not missing out on anything. Again. Oh wow. I can't wait to tuck into this, honestly. I've been looking at this piece of steak in my fridge for 2 days, wondering what I was going to do with it, and I thought, well, I'm going to eat it on my own. I live at home on my own, so what I'm going to do with this steak is I'm going to cook it, slice it up, have some tonight for dinner, and the rest of it will go in sandwiches tomorrow and the following day as well. Well, look at the size of this piece of meat, so, alright. So that's starting to render down really nice now. Now the flavour's going through it, the butter's just going to get in there and saturate with all that fat. There's going to be so much goodness going on here, honestly. It's a really nice piece of steak. We're going to do the beast justice. Okay, we're going to cook it to perfection today. No holds barred. Well, to what I call perfection anyway. Wow. So I'm really salivating for it. And the back side might take a bit longer. That was the fat side of the strip. So that'll take a bit longer. I want to render some fat out of that. Okay. We need the fat in the meat to get the flavour, to enhance the meat. We need to get to a certain temperature to be able to stop the fat from retaining its tension in the meat. We want to render it down inside the meat to create all the flavour we're going to give the steak, okay? And also make it a tender cut to eat with the fat running through the marble of it, okay? We'll give that side just a little bit longer. I've also got the oven heat preheated to 160, so it's going to be a slow cook. There's going to be no guesswork here at all. I'm going to use a meat thermometer, okay? If you're not using one of these, seriously, you're guessing, you're going to ruin your cut, okay? In the oven, it's only a matter of about 3 or 4 minutes before it goes from medium rare to the medium cut, from the medium to the medium well cut to the well cut, okay? You don't want to go and get it wrong. Meat is not cheap these days, so let's just do the right thing with it, okay? Look at that. That's the way. I'll turn it down a little bit because I can smell the butter change. I know. My nose, eh? I'm so big for nothing, by the way. I can smell anything that goes on in my kitchen, whether it be right or wrong. Okay, so that's going to look good. I'm going to use the butter out of this pan, by the way, to continue on for my peppercorn dish. Once that's gone in the oven, I'll stop the video and I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like on the outside. I'll prep it up on a plate with the new peppercorn sauce and I'm going to show you how it's going to be done. With the 2 side salads, okay? That is absolutely beautiful. That is doing exactly what I wanted to do, okay? Take your time. When you cook, take your time. Put some love into your dish. You'll appreciate it when it comes out on the table, okay? If you want to impress somebody, this is the dish to do it with, okay? We all know how to cook meat. I know we all do, okay? I'm just trying to show you how to do it to perfection, okay? Okay, that's about ready to go in the oven. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a glove on right now. I'm going to transport the fat out of that into this so I can reuse the butter out of the dish. Sorry, I'll put a second glove on here. A bit of weight in that pan. Now we can go. So I'm going to stop that meat from falling out. I'm going to reuse that butter and that flavour that's come out of the meat, the fat, everything's rendered out of it. Get the rosemary in there. Actually, I'll put the rosemary on top of the dish. How's that? Let's roast the rosemary in with the meat. Okay? So that's going to go in the oven shortly. That's going to be turned into a peppercorn sauce. So what I need to do is put the meat thermometer on. The cheapest chips to buy these things, by the way. I probably would have paid about $70 in a day when these were relatively new. I used to do lots of low and slow cooking in the large gas oven at home, the good old beef eater. These days I've reserved myself to indoor cooking in my back kitchen here. I use what appliances are available to me. and this does just as good as anywhere else. So, okay, so I've got my thermometer on, and now it's telling me only go down to a medium rare cut. So the meat's it's telling me it's almost in 33, and we need to get up to 63 degrees internal temperature of the meat, which will happen. So we want to get the thermometer straight in through the centre of the cut, if we can. Okay, and when it goes into the oven, we don't want any of this wiring or anything to touch anything inside the oven, like the shelf or anything like that, because it will give you an inaccurate reading. All right, been there, done that. I've wrecked my meats, so let's do it correctly. So the oven's ready to go. Meat's going to go in. When we hear that little beeper click, we know our meat's come out and good to go. And always with your meats as well, you rest them for as long as it takes to cook them at the minimum. Okay, so if that's going to sit there for 30 minutes in the oven, or 25 or whatever minutes it takes, it's telling we're going to rest it for as well. Okay, it'll help keep all the moisture in, and it will continue cooking inside. It's all internal temperature, but it will come out one fantastic cut of meat. Okay, so I've got the butter going on here. So I've got the flavour already. It's already flavoured now. I've got the flavour going in there from the beef itself. All right, so I'm going to place it here. And let's get some heat going here. We're going to throw some more butter in, obviously. And we're going to do some sautéing. Let that butter melt in. As you know by now, if you've been watching my my channel, you know that I use butter in everything, just about everything that I do. Okay, cook everything at a low heat. You don't want the butter to burn, but butter will just bring out the flavour and absolutely everything. And we'll begin the process of making the peppercorn sauce. These shallots are chopped really fine, by the way, so it's not going to take too long to saute it all. And once I've gotten through that, we'll add in the garlic and the Worcestershire sauce, if I said it correctly, some peppercorns, and we'll get this baby going. So it's all starting to happen now. Things take time in the kitchen. I run out of things to talk about, but I try to keep the video alive and try to get things going, alright? So I'm just trying to be real here. Alright, so that's all bubbling away there right now. So most of my dishes do take a lot of butter. As I said, you're just not going to beat the flavour. Alright. If you're used to using olive oil, that's a nice clean approach as well. It acts the same as butter when it cooks. You can't overheat it because it will burn and it will render your dish useless. Trust me, there's nothing worse than tasting burnt olive oil or butter in your dish. Okay, and believe you me, you will taste it if you see a clean version of it, not burnt. And then if you do it burnt, you'll notice it. And what's worse is your guests will as well. Alright, so we're getting that now some nice simmer. Let's get some garlic in this dish. Let's get some peppercorns. So I've got crushed peppercorns here, which I've crushed. I've just put them under a roller, under some Glad wrap, beat the crap out of it. Alright, so that's good to go. So that's going to be the actual flavour. Alright, and the peppercorn here itself is just for aesthetics. When it's all done, everyone wants to see full peppercorn sitting in their sauce, okay? So that'll be sitting there as well, and that's rendering away nicely now. The fragrance is absolutely fantastic, alright? So we're going to do its thing for a short term here. We're going to turn the heat down again. I can smell the garlic coming out right now, which means the garlic is doing its thing. Okay, we're going to throw the next flavour component in, which is the sauce. Yeah, that's the way. That's what I wanted to hear. Okay, so give me a moment on that. Oh wow, the smell right now, that's just wafting away. I'm just starving. So it's even better. So what we're going to do now is we're going to throw some stock in. We'll let that simmer down, and we're going to let it render down to a good thickness. There's not much to go with this sauce, by the way. All we do is add the cream to thicken it up and to put that nice creamy flavour through the whole sauce, gravy, whatever you would like to call Okay, that's all happening now. So we don't mind having the heat up a little bit now. The stock is actually protecting the butter from burning. So, but we also need to reduce the stock at the same time. So it's a little bit of a trick here, but it'll work out just fine because I know that water is the stock is protecting. Today I just used. Normally I'd go out and I'd grab myself some bone broth, some beef bone broth, to make a nice bouillon, a nice really meaty flavour to the sauce. I didn't want to leave the house today, so I just used 2 beef oxo cubes and a little bit of hot water. Okay. The difference in flavour, you will notice it if you've got a really good palate, but otherwise it's good to go. All right. So now I'm just going to wait for all this to render down. Waiting for that beef stock to do its little job there, running itself through the onion, through the shallot, and the garlic there exposing itself to the stock. All right, so it's coming down nicely. Rendering takes time, unfortunately, so you have to sit here and watch this one out. And as I said, you don't want to go too hot either, trying to get the job over and done with. You actually want to get the flavours running through it. You don't want to burn anything. You don't want to taste it on the plate. Believe you me, any method that I do here that's incorrect, you'll taste it all on the plate. Okay, so it's all about timing and knowing what you're doing with the stock itself. Okay, because you will easily ruin the dish by being in a hurry. Okay, and that's why I always say it's always cooked with love, because love is actually patience and time, and it's everything else that you put into anything that you want to do in life. Okay, so always cook with love. It's smelling great. Okay, so our meat's gone up about 7 degrees in temperature. It's only halfway there. Room temperature on this baby was around about 20 degrees, so we've got a long way to go, probably another, 15 minutes I'm going to guess. But I will cut the video short as soon as I've done peppercorn sauce, okay? A little bit more render. We want the sauce to be nice and thick, so that's why we're getting the stock to come down. And once it comes down, the cream will go in. You don't want to dilute the cream too much with an overstocked sauce. I honestly could just dip my bread into this right now, even before I go any further. The smell in the kitchen is just fantastic. Just in case you can't see, and I'm sure you can. So this is what I've developed here, okay? You see the ingredients that have gone into it. Okay, so it's coming down to a nice rich sauce there already. Once we put the cream in it and the full peppercorns in there, it'll give it some looks and appearance, and also help transport the beautiful sauce over the steak, all right? So that's coming up really good. Not too far away now, it's rendering down nice. And the good thing about butter is as well, when you're doing things like this, it doesn't sit there like oil, say for example a sesame oil or a vegetable oil. It doesn't sit there and float on the top. Okay, so you're not there worrying about separation in your sauce, and that's probably the most important reason is why I use butter all the time. Okay, it just doesn't seem to separate like the other oils. Okay, not to mention the nuttiness that comes out of it. Fantastic. All right, that's racing away a bit too high for my liking. There we go. That's a nice simmer there. I'm going to get rid of the stock quite quick. Okay, that's already thickened up on its own, believe it or not. Okay, between the butter and the sauce. Okay, look at that. That's already rendering down nice. Okay, all the solids in there are melting down away and putting themselves through the stock. Okay, as planned. Come on, baby, I'm hungry. I'm glad I'm not cooking for the family tonight. They've already beaten the door off the kitchen trying to get in. There we go, that's coming out great. Not too far to go now. I might just brazen that big brazen and put the heat up a smidge more just to get this process over and done with. Okay, so now we're going to throw the full peppercorns in there. The sauce is rendered down really nice, by the way, and I'll keep going and continue on while I'm doing the dish. Alright, so that's rendered down really nice. As you can see that, all the ingredients have just melted down, which is what we're chasing. Okay, so the real peppercorn flavour is in there now. And as I said, those other peppercorns there are mostly just to present themselves in the dish. Okay, so that's looking great. I'd probably like to render down a little bit more. But what I'll do now is just bash it with some extra cream to make more of the sauce, really. Get some heat on there. Now with the cream, it's just basic cooking cream. It's nothing fancy about it. This is just the Woolies brand cream. No brainer. You can sit there looking at the shelves all day long wondering which cream to use. Just get the thickened cream, cooking cream, whatever they want to call it on the day, alright? Okay, so now pretty much ready to put my cream in. We want to get the temperature right. We don't want to cook the cream, we just want to simmer it through the dish. Now, that's a lot of peppercorns there. I just exaggerated myself a little bit, but let's get some into the dish. See what it looks like. Let's get that cream in. And let's see what the sauce turns into, right? So I've used the pan juices out of the seared meat. We've used the butter, the butter that come out of it. Okay, this is coming out really nice, guys. So I've used the whole jar. We're going to render this down and we're going to simmer it really slow, and then you'll see what it looks like on the other side. I'm just going to throw some more peppercorns in there. I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit more to get it back to a simmer. Till the nice butter flowing through it. It's going to taste so good. And we're going to reduce the entire dish while we're waiting for the meat to cook, okay? It's going to be such a rich flavour. Right, so what I'll do now is I'm going to cut the video short. I'm going to render the sauce down. I'm just going to let it simmer away while I'm waiting for the meat to cook. And I'll come back to you guys and I'll show you what's come out of the oven and I'll show you what's come of this sauce. Okay? So, thank you. Won't be long. Hi everybody, back again. Okay, so while you were gone, you just heard the beeper go off. I'm sitting on 63 degrees, which is considered a medium rare. I've rendered down the peppercorn sauce. Now, I had to remove some stock out of it just by submersing the spoon into it and getting all the liquid off the top. And then I reduced it pretty fine. That's come out to such a beautiful sauce. Look at that. Okay, gonna be happy with that sauce. The meat's ready to come out, so let's have a look at what we've done. We're going to let it rest for a little bit and then I'm going to carve it up. Okay, so let's see what I've done here. Wow. Wow. That just was a blast of smell straight through the whole kitchen right there. I really can't wait to get into this dish, honestly. So let's have a look at what I've done. I don't know if you can see that correctly. We're sitting on 63 degrees on the thermometer, okay, the way it's meant to be done. The meat has come out fantastic and it's great. I've made the mistake before of grabbing the fry pan handle without wearing my protective gloves, and I won't do that ever again, I tell you. So let's pull the thermometer out and just have a look and see what we've done with the meat. Okay. Okay, as you can see, that looks like a beautiful roast there. Okay, I can tell you right now that most of the flavour's sealed right into that. I can't wait to show you a slice, and then I'm going to plate it up. Now I'm going to serve some sides with it, and hopefully it's to your liking. I know it's going to be to mine. Nearly did it again. Nearly caught myself out. Be careful. So I'm going to stop the video here. I'm going to let that rest for about 10 minutes. It's still going to be cooking inside. It's going to be nice and warm. I want to see it. I want you all of you guys to see it as I carve it up, just to show you that it's a steak that's done to perfection. Okay, thank you. The proof is in the pudding, right? So I've had this resting for about a good 10-15 minutes now. I reduced the sauce even more. I added a little bit more stock there. It was a little bit dry. So that's been done now. I'm just sitting on a temperature there to keep the sauce nice and thick. Alright, so I'm going to show you the steak. Texas New York cut. Okay, we're going to carve it open to see what I've done. Okay. Hope this works out well. Wow. Look at that, guys. Medium rare, as I requested. Let's get it on the plate. This is dynamite. It's everything I expected out of my cut. I think one more slice there for an adult. Plenty there tomorrow, and the next day probably just for me. Just have some nice sandwiches with when it's cold. A beautiful creamy peppercorn sauce. Okay, look at that. It's going to do wonders. A bit of napkin here. We'll clean the plate up, put some sides on, and I'll show you what I've done. So I've got a coleslaw, which I made myself actually. I can show you this in another video if you request it, otherwise I'll leave it be. As far as the beans go, store bought. I'll never claim fame to anything I never made myself. A little bit of crusty bread. A little bit of butter. A little bit more is not going to hurt. Andrew's Texan New York cut with the peppercorn sauce. with the bean mix that I bought, with the coleslaw that I made, with some nice hot sourdough. Come on, guys. Give me E for effort on that one. I think I perfected it, okay? That's how it's done. Thank you very much, guys.